evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Theatre 3. Please be aware of emergency exits on either sides of the stage and in the rear of the theatre on your left-hand side. At this time, we ask that all cell phones and electronic devices be turned off. Ladies and gentlemen, throwing you a kiss, remembering Jean.
I'm just a Broadway baby, walking off my tired feet, pounding 42nd Street to be in a show. Broadway baby, learning how to sing and dance,
waiting for that one big chance
to be in a show. Gee, I'd like to be on some marquee, oh, twinkling lights, a spark to pierce the dark from Battery Park to Washington Heights. Someday maybe all my dreams will be repaid.
Heck, I'd even play the maid to be in a show.
Hey, Mr. Producer, I'm talking to you, sir. I don't need a lot, only what I got, plus a tube of grease paint and a fellow's fire. I'm a Broadway baby, slaving at the 5 and 10, dreaming of that great day when I'll be in a show. Broadway baby, making rounds all afternoon,
Eating at a greasy spoon to save on my dough. Oh.
At my little flat, there's just my cat, a bed and a chair. Still, I'll stick it till I'm on a bill all over Times Square. Someday, maybe, if I stick it long enough, maybe I can strut my stuff, working for a nice man like a Ziegfeld or a Weissman in a great big Broadway show.
Broadway Baby is Stephen Sondheim's wry but affectionate anthem to the musical theater. The song is from the musical Follies, the first show Jean choreographed for Theatre 3 in the spring of 1989. In the cast were two actors who just appeared, Marcy Bing and Phyllis March. Now, if every performer in our opening represented 100 performers, it would only be a fraction of those with whom Jean worked. If every person in this theater tonight were 100 people, it still wouldn't approach the number of people Jean touched in her life. Good evening. My name is Jeff Sanzel, and on behalf of the board and staff of Theatre 3 and Jean's family, welcome to Throwing You a Kiss, Remembering Jean. Tonight, we celebrate an extraordinary artist, a gifted teacher, a mentor, an inspiration, a mother, a grandmother, a wife, a friend, an amazing and amazingly remarkable human being. On this stage, Jean worked on over 60 productions. They ranged from 42nd Street to Camelot, from Man of La Mancha to Me and My Girl, from the immortal Fiddler on the Roof to the less than classic Streak in a Musical flashback to the 1970s. Jean brought skill, vision, and talent. Whether it was the frug or the parade passing by, Jean had not just a style, but all styles. Jean left her mark on this stage and dozens across Long Island. But theater was only part of Jean's life. Tonight, we will hear from people who will share their experiences, their feelings, and their love. Please welcome our first speaker, Maureen Spanos.
So nice to see so many people here to honor my friend's memory. Imagine you're all here because you love Jean. That's why we come to events like this. We think we're here to demonstrate our high regard for the memory of a loved one who's passed away. But I disagree. I don't think you're here because you love Jean. I think you're here because Jean loved you. That's what made her so special. In one way or another, she showed us that she loved us. And that's what we grieve. We grieve the loss of that love in our lives. And that's why we've gathered together tonight, to try to recapture the loving spirit that was Jean Sorbera. Jean was a healer and a nurturer. She fed people. She fed them physically, of course. Her kitchen was legendary. But she fed them emotionally as well. Jean provided whatever was needed in any given situation. She was a loyal person, and she could not abide abandonment. She would always step in to fill any void that she saw in others. Many of you sitting here today have felt her love in this way, and you can attest to that. Her empathy made her a great communicator. She shared her soul in counseling. She gave the gift of language to many people through her work as an ASL interpreter. She had a way of being able to read between the lines and sense your thought process, and that made her a very effective teacher because she saw into people and understood what was needed to bring them to the next level of becoming the best that they could be. It was amazing to watch her share her love of dance, for example, with groups of just ordinary folks and transform them into beautiful dancing ensembles. They didn't even always know that they could do it. But Jean saw their strengths, and she found the way to build on them and to make those people look good. You could always count on Jean to make you look good. She was fiercely protective of the people she loved, her children, her family, those fortunate enough to be considered friends. You know who you are. But Jean took it a step further. She was protective of anyone in need of support who just happened to cross her path. A student, a performer, some kid we just met in the park. It didn't matter. Jean campaigned against suffering on all occasions. I was fortunate to see it up close time and time again because Jean and I were friends for many years. Besides working together here at the theater, we spent a lot of time in one another's company outside of work. We would meet for breakfast or go out for coffee after a show or rehearsal and just talk for hours. We shared crochet patterns and novels. We got together to do cooking and craft projects. Some worked out well. Others, not so much. Just as Phyllis March, she was there for one of our greatest fiascos. But we enjoyed our time together over the years. That was the point. We enjoyed each other. The most special thing about my relationship to Jean was that I shared the greatest blessing of life with her. We became grandmothers together. We reveled in the joy of those baby years. We gave our grandsons the time and attention that only grandparents with no jobs and no responsibilities can actually afford to give. We were free to focus on the miracle of those babies in ways we'd never been fully able to with our own children. We formed an alliance and brought the boys together several times a week. They thought of each other as family. Each was an important part of the other's lives. My grandsons called her Nona, and her grandsons called me Nana. We baked, we gardened, we traveled all over Long Island, introducing the boys to new environments and enriching experiences. We followed their interests and challenged them to develop new skills. Anything to delight them, and they, in turn, delighted us. Whether we were in a children's museum, an aquarium, on a playground or a farm, or even just home with friends. Jean poured all her love into those beautiful children. At this stage of life, we had a little disposable income, and that gave us the keys to the toy store. We were finally able to buy all the things we would have loved to give our own children years ago, but couldn't afford back then. And maybe we went a little overboard. We bought trains and cars for them to ride on. Jean bought a roller coaster for her yard. We had wading pools for them to splash in, tunnels to crawl through, climbing toys, musical instruments, sand tables, tools to dig with and build with. We had books and costumes and paint and bubbles and balls. You name it, we got it for those kids. And we had the leisure time to enjoy those things with the boys. We played, we laughed, we sang with them, we tickled them and cuddled them. And there's a very good chance that Jean and I were having even more fun than the kids were. That was the crowning glory of Nona Jean's time here on Earth. That was the love that she took with her when she passed on to a new life. And that's what we're seeking when we gather together tonight to remember her, and to remember the way her love touched us, each of us. And that is exactly what I hope you're feeling here right now as we celebrate her legacy tonight. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Heather Garafola, Patty Kittenplan, and Michelle Tomasi.
We all know how much time Miss Jean had invested in her world of teaching, directing, choreographing, and interpreting all outside of home. She did it all with so much passion. So we would like to thank you, Pete, Rachel, and Jonathan, for sharing her with us. As well known as Miss Jean is in the theater industry, she was also a big part of the deaf community as a sign language interpreter, advocate, mentor, and role model to all those who have crossed her path. Here giving this speech, we have Michelle, Heather, and myself, Patty Kittenplan, speaking on my daughter Allison's behalf, as she could not be with us tonight since she lives in Austin, Texas. Heather, Allison, and Michelle were fortunate to have Miss Jean, also known as Mrs. Sorbera, as their sign language interpreter throughout their school years. For Michelle, Mrs. Sorbera became a part of her life when they met in her 4th grade classroom. Miss Jean then connected with Allison as a substitute interpreter, and from middle school up until the end of their senior year, Miss Jean was with them through it all. Miss Jean wrapped up her career with Sachem School District by interpreting for Heather throughout high school.
Everyone may know her as Miss Jean, but to me, she was Mama Bear. She paved the way, my guiding light, encouraging me to face the challenges that lay ahead and never to let anything or anyone hold me back. She often told me, "Your ears are broken, but there's nothing wrong with you." And this was her way of getting me to accept the fact that I was deaf and being okay with it. I wanted to be just like her. Fierce, with a sassy personality, and blunt when needed to be. She also had a unique style with those high-heeled platform shoes that I could never pull off. And of course, she always had a cup of coffee in her hand. Thank you, Mama Bear, for sharing all the memories with me throughout those years. Thank you for introducing me to deaf culture and the theater world. Thank you for being my second mom. Whew. You are truly one of a kind who went above and beyond, especially for your family.
Thinking back to October 10th, 2021, on my wedding day, Miss Jean texted me that morning, "Good morning, you beautiful bride. I can't wait to see you today. My job started up again, so I have to work until 11:30, so I'll be there a little bit after 12. I know you will be the most gorgeous bride ever. Love you so much." That text alone shows that Miss Jean always made time for everyone, even if she had other obligations or engagements. Miss Jean protected me from the first day I walked into Station East. I had just returned from a year off of school from chemotherapy treatment, and the homeroom teacher demanded that I remove my hat, which covered my newly regrown hair. Miss Jean handled that with the teacher. Then, a security guard yelled at me for having Bluetooth devices in my ears, which were really my cochlear implants. Sorry. Miss Jean handled that with the security guard. The vital straw was when the security guards refused to let me bypass the metal detectors into the school because of my implants. They refused to warn me or hand search me. Miss Jean had had enough, so she marched right into the principal's office and told the principal to blast an email and a picture to every staff or faculty member of the school, specifically not to mess with Heather Kitten Plan. And if there was a problem, to speak to Jean Sorbera before addressing anything with me. I am so blessed that Miss Jean was not only my interpreter, but became part of my family. She was my school mom. She was a beautiful person I looked forward to seeing sitting in front of the classroom, smiling, coffee in hand, cross-legs with heels, red lipstick, a bag next to her with her book or spools of yarn, working on her latest homemade crocheted item while chatting it up with the students and the teachers before each bell rang.
This is from my daughter, Allison. If someone made you feel bad, Miss Jean would be the one to hold your hand, remind you of your importance, and then she would get you to laugh and forget all about it. If you had soccer practice, she'd show up even in her high heels and run up and down on the sidelines to make it work for you with a big smile on her face. If you got sick and could not attend school, she'd collect that day's worth of notes and homework and bring them to you at home. You were automatically known as her baby. She would treat you just as if you were her own. She was a woman who would walk through fire for everyone. She loved and cared about so much. She was so natural at being a mother and an advocate in life for everyone. I knew I was going to cry. I got it. Seeing coffee in a small white styrofoam cup with a red lipstick mark on it, Steve Madden shoes, 5 to 6 inch platform heels, black leather jackets, hand lotion, gum, knitting sets, novels, blonde striped bangs, turtlenecks, Broadway shows will forever remind me of you. Thank you for being the Miss Jean we all needed, adored, and loved so much. Your love, warmth, friendship, and beautiful soul will never be forgotten. Until we meet again, you can be sure we'll continue our brunch tradition with Rachel in your honor. We love you so much.
Jean choreographed what seemed like a never-ending kick line of school productions. I remember years when it seemed like she had 2 openings a week for 3 months in a row. Thousands of lucky students had the opportunity to work with the best. While they couldn't be with us this evening, as they were at the Teenie Awards, Bayshore Drama, under the direction of Christopher Bilella, created this special tribute. The recording joins 2 important roles in Jean's life: choreographer and interpreter. In addition, performing live are Jean's daughter, Rachel Ferzola, her children, Giuseppe and Lucia, and Jean's son, Jonathan's children, Angelo and Enzo. Ladies and gentlemen, all good gifts from Godspell. Please welcome to the stage, David Kramer.
Well, let me first start off by saying that I am honored to have been asked by the Sorbera family to speak at this very special get-together. As a director, at the end of a rehearsal, I would share words that I would hope would be used in the future, a life lesson that was generated from whatever production we were working on at that time. After that long rehearsal, my cast would sit for 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes until I said everything that I wanted to share with them at that time. I was told that I could not spend that amount of time with you tonight. Speaking about Miss Jean would just take too long, so I decided that I would choreograph a dance and dance for you tonight. But on the ride over here, a voice came to me, and it was Jean's voice. She said, "Kramer, don't you dare. They'll go blind and never want to dance again." So out of respect, I will do as Jean said, as I did most of the time that we worked together. I met Jean about 30 years ago. Our relationship was in the context of theater. Take One Theater and Theater 3, I worked as a pit musician, and although not required, I would come to rehearsals to watch her work, along with directors, music directors, and the cast. I was her student. I realized what a gifted teacher she was in the way she related and worked with everyone in those theaters. I asked her to join me in Miller Place High School as the choreographer, and in Miller Place High School, Miller Place Middle School, Mount Sinai High School, and a summer theater arts program that we worked on together for close to 19 years, 18 or 19 years. That was where our relationship got closer than just director, choreographer. Her constant encouragement of actors on stage who were not dancers to keep working at it. Her choreography was involved and evolved over the rehearsal period. And although I sat in the back of the auditorium many days watching her rehearse and watching my actors perform her steps as best they could, I kept saying to myself, there's no way in hell they're going to be able to do that. And if I tried to help anybody on stage, Miss Jean said, "Get off the stage." And I left the stage. But truth be told, every performance that we did together, she proved me wrong. That she was asking, not demanding, asking for our actors to find themselves and to work towards perfection. During those years, she was not just a choreographer. She was a family friend, as well as a personal friend, and a very dear one at that. Jean elevated every show in which she choreographed by enhancing the director's vision. She created many highlights in productions on which she worked. Truth be told, directors work very hard to get actors to share lines with the true meaning behind those words, and those actors who deliver the lines perfectly feel good inside. Someone who sings a song with emotion, spot on. Sometimes the audience will react with some polite applause, or a few people will share that appreciation. But it was the choreographer that added the body to the words and to the music that brought people not to their feet, but spontaneously to applaud as soon as you hit that last note. And those actors were trained, hold it just a little bit longer until you hear the applause die down just a little, and then move on with your storytelling. We all have memorable moments, sounds, dance steps, and emotions of which Jean was the spark, the key to experiencing. We carry those moments and those feelings inside. We carry them in our inner selves, in our memories, and sometimes we are conscious of them, but all the time they are affecting us in positive ways. She was a true giver, without a doubt. Some people give with the hope of recognition. That was not Jean. Sometimes they give begrudgingly. That was not Jean. She gave to others as she gave to her own flesh and blood. Her caring was endless. She was like a candle who can light another candle and another candle and another candle. And that flame was her love. She didn't diminish any of her love. Her love was endless. As I would sit in an auditorium watching a rehearsal on stage, All of a sudden, Jean would turn around to say something to me, but then catch a glimpse of something behind me, and it was maybe a grandchild or two of mine that walked into the theater. She'd call out, "Ilan, yum, yum," as if they were her loves, because they were. And that auditorium filled, that expansive auditorium, with her love. As my cast would see that, they would see a new way of expressing love, or a dimension of love that maybe they hadn't experienced before. When I'd create the programs for our high school productions, I took a full page to have a note from the director shared with my cast members. I needed to print that in the smallest font possible because of the amount of words it took for me to express what I wanted to share. Miss Jean also got her own page. She only put 4 words on it. "Throw me a kiss." And of course, a little illustration of her lips. That 4-word routine has a great deal of meaning for many of us. Throw me a kiss, not give me a kiss. Sometimes blow me a kiss, but throw me a kiss. Why the word throw? Well, the throw demands energy. The throw demands that you infuse that kiss with your whole being. That throw means that you must commit entirely to the relationship. And as my cast would respond, as you saw someone do that tonight, as they'd respond back, they were also seeing and understanding, not consciously, but in their hearts, the lesson that she was sharing. One last story. This was a high school production of Rent. It's the second act, and it is Angel's death scene. And as Angel is dying, so is the motherboard of my lighting system. And the entire auditorium blacks out. And then all of a sudden, one circuit covering the proscenium arch of the stage lights and starts blinking. I call up to 3 spot people that are above me on a scaffold, light stage right, stage center, stage left, and keep them on for the rest of the show. So that's what we have, a static stage lit and pulsating lights around the stage. The show ends, it ends well. I dodge the bullet, and someone comes up to me, a gentleman, shaking my hand vigorously. "Congratulations, that was a phenomenal lighting feat that you did. It was so expressive of the moment." I said, "Thank you." Just as I trained my actors that if something happens on stage, never reveal that mistake, just say, "Thank you," for whatever compliment comes. "Oh, what a great show. Oh, it was really good, but we screwed up here." No, I never had my actors say that. And so the man went on. He said that idea of Angel's heartbeat pulsating through the rest of the show was a phenomenal way of expressing that although Angel's body had passed on, his soul, his joy of life, and his love lived on. And so with this in mind, I'd like to say to Miss Jean that all who are here tonight or are watching live stream and are fortunate to have crossed your path on their journey, you are our angel. And we know that your soul, your joy of life, and your love are still with us. And we're all throwing you, fully committed, our love. Thank you.
From the moment I met Jean, I knew that this was someone who was more than. I was intrigued and fascinated, but mostly overwhelmed. You know when you meet someone and you say, I need to know this person, I really need this person in my life right now. That was Jean. The first time we worked together was not Jean as choreographer, it was Jean as actor. She appeared in a children's show, Yes, I Can, in a role specifically written for her. Think Italian Mary Poppins. The last time we worked together was also Jean as actor in the offstage online drama, The Aftermath. Here she was meditative, introspective, different, but still very Jean. Jean was someone who challenged herself, had a passion for learning, and never stopped growing. I collaborated with Jean on over 50 productions, with Jean often as co-director. Jean, musical director Ellen Mitchell-Moore, stage manager Maureen Spanos, and I were a team for over 20 years. Beginning with me and my girl and spanning to our second Little Shop of Horrors, I could trust Jean and Ellen to keep me on track. In the summer of 2008, I was struggling with staging the musical numbers in 1968 Rock the World, so Jean volunteered to come in and help, which basically meant, in a week, without taking any credit, Jean choreographed the entire show. To borrow a term from Jean, I don't do feats. Jean hadn't seen the script, and after a run-through, she and Ellen came over to me, and it was right here, and the two of them standing next to each other, and they kind of looked at each other, go ahead. And Jean looked at me and said, Jeffrey, the ending is not working. And she was right. When I was going down the wrong path, she would always bring me back. My relationship with Jean and with Ellen was one of absolute trust. In their perfect complementary styles, they knew not just what to say, but how to say it. To make sure whatever we did was honest and true. A bond that was more than. I will hold close to my heart and feet Jean's patience when trying to choreograph me as a performer. Of all her choreographic talents, the most extraordinary, as you've heard tonight, was her ability to make non-dancers dance. She didn't hide them, she taught them. Many will remember Jean in action, the flying feet, the perfect steps, the most expressive magic hands. But I will remember Jean in stillness, watching, absorbing, the head slightly tilted, knowing what needed to be adjusted. The artist at work. We met to discuss how best to represent Jean. Hundreds of hours of rehearsal and performances, thousands, millions of individual steps. We talked about recreating her numbers, but realized we would be better served by letting her work and life speak for itself. The film you are about to see represents a huge undertaking, curated by Jean's daughter Rachel and by Sari Feldman. You will see clips dating back decades, rescued from VHS tapes. There will be school shows and summer programs and dozens of performances that took place on this very stage. There are glimpses into her personal life and an attempt, in a small way, to reflect the Jean we knew and loved. And now, throwing you a kiss, remembering Jean.
my darlings again. My sweethearts, I miss you. I really, really miss you. Don't get upset. All right? We're going to learn a few steps and we're going to put it to music and we're going to dance together. Okay? It'll be like old times. I love you. And I do.
I would like to thank my husband Peter, my son Jonathan, my daughter Rachel.
Just do a few steps so that I can see that you won't trip over the puzzle. I think you did. Otherwise, the Jonathan, you're on TV.
We defined ourselves, Ellen, at one time by the jobs we did. But that's not who we are. When we sit together and we're talking, we're laughing, we're drinking peach bellinis, we're discussing TV series, our happy days. We're talking about sewing and knitting and gardening and food, of course, and definitely family. That's the deep earthly part of ourselves. That's the foundation of our lives.
You too, Mom.
Movies, yeah.
There we go. I got it now. Homemade raviolis.
I think that's...
Okay.
Does it get any better than this? No. Only later when we eat them. Hi, honey.
Merry Christmas. Look at my little girl did all this.
So proud of
Little
her.
baby did all this. I love her. Love her.
How you doing, baby boy?
I love you, man.
Love you too.
Yeah. Hug your mama. Christmas Eve, 2009. Let me see your faces together. Faces together. 2009, December 24, 2009.
I love this family. I love everybody. I'm so happy that we could all be
Spider-Man,
together,
take another bite.
coexist peacefully
Oh, there's Spider-Man back too.
in the United States of America and Pennsylvania at this particular time.
Thank
So
you for
thank
coming.
you.
For your support.
For your support.
Send money. Send money to the telephone.
Jean Sorbera, and I'm from New York, as you could tell by the accent, from Long Island. I used to work with the deaf in the school district, and I'm also a director choreographer. I'm married. I have 2 children, 4 grandchildren. Oh, I'm a big family person. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We kind of celebrate every single time we're together. Lots of laughs, lots of food, things like that.
Jean, if you could just share some words of wisdom.
It makes me teary-eyed. You think of all other things except yourself. You need to hear that from another woman. You do need to just do it and work on yourself. Stress work, anxiety, never sympathizing, it's empathizing with one another. We care for one another.
Thank you for taking this journey with us, and also thank you for sharing your story. I hope this has inspired a few people who are tuning in.
I hope so. I really do hope so.
Me, myself, and I.
Me, myself, and I.
We, us, ourselves, and why.
We, us, ourselves, and why. When it comes to the test to see who is the best, anyone can plainly see that the best is we.
Me, myself, and I.
Me, myself, and I.
ourselves and why.
We, us, ourselves, and why.
What would people say if we put you on display for all the world to see and have them point at me now?
So be free to talk about we. If you must discuss, you must discuss us.
Me, myself, and I.
Me, myself, and I.
We, us, ourselves, and why.
We, us, ourselves, and why.
So without making a fuss,
Without making a fuss, our favorite subject just happens to be us.
Hi, Nani. Hi, my sweethearts. I love you. Love you. Go. Go, Spider-Man.
Who wants bug spray?
I need some, man.
Go. Go. Go.
Okay.
Are you really ready for this? Don't fall.
Well, you know what it is. It's going to go. It's going to go. I wonder if I could just hold on to it. Wait. Let me just get one second. Can I hold?
Everything's fine. Everything's fine over here, John boy. Susie and boys. Everything's fine.
There you go. Hold it tight so you can't get through. So listen up back. There we go. Oh my goodness.
Papa, look.
Wow. That's beautiful. La 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 la. La 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 la.
What's my name?
What's my name? What's my name?
Here we go.
1, 2, 3, go!
In Anatevka, we have a tradition for everything. How we work, how we eat, how we sleep, how we wear clothes. For instance, we always keep our heads covered, and we always wear a tiny prayer shawl. That shows our constant devotion to God. You may ask, how did these traditions get started? I will tell you. I don't know. But they're traditions. And because of our traditions, each one of us knows who he is and what God expects him to do.
I love to read, and one of my favorite books is Tommy DePaola's Strega Nonna. All right, sweethearts, here we go. This is Strega Nonna's family. If you notice, as it hits me in my head, she came from a very large family. This is where they eat out in her yard. And eat in Italian is mangiare. So, do you have a family that you sit and you eat? Can you see me through here? Okay.
What may, you and me will stay together year after year, won't we, my dear? That's why we're you and me. I taught him everything he knows.
That's why he has so little left. Here come the Suzy Q's.
But I am so pushed down. You could even do.
Bring it, show it to me first, and you say it.
Yeah, I would. And then go down to here. This is very fasting. Okay. Go down to here, and then boom.
Join us, we get the power. Join us, we get cheese to sour. Join us, come and taste an hour or two. If we do, we got magic to do. Just for you, we got miracle plays to play. We got balls to perform, hearts to warm.
7, yeehaw. 1 and 2
Yeehaw.
and 4, 5 and 6 and 7, yeehaw. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, yeehaw. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5 and 6. There's one more angel in heaven. There's one more star in the sky. Joseph and Vincent so far. Mind you,
okay? You practice that for me and tell me how you made out. All right, my honeys, throw me a kiss. Mwah! Love you.
Please welcome to the stage Rachel Ferzola.
I thank you, everybody, for coming today, for everybody who's watching at home. On behalf of my family, I would first like to thank all involved in this beautiful event, the Theater 3 staff who willingly volunteered their time and their talents this evening. A special thanks to Steve Uline for digitizing dozens of videos for the montage, one being a VHS, I believe to be a family movie. Steve is now caught up on Days of Our Lives from 1995. Thanks, Steve. That'll probably be the only laugh the rest of it's going to be. Laugh it up. To Marcy Bing, Liz Castro Giovanni, who will always be Lizzie Trupia to me, Kelly Coughlin, Jen Collister, Tammy Dorsa, Beth Ladd, Suzanne Mason, Linda Maymay, Joy Tepedino, Doug Quatrock, Morgan Rumble, and Jeff Hoffman. Thank you for being such an integral part in tonight's memorial for my mother. To Maureen Spanos, Heather Garofolo, Michelle Tomasi, Patty Kittenplan, and David Kramer. Thank you for sharing your heartfelt words about my mother with my family and all those present. It truly means the world. Phyllis March, I thank you for your constant love and support. Thank you for allowing me to lean on you throughout this past year. My mother always said you were an angel on earth, and she couldn't have been more right. To Jeffrey Sanzel, I thank you for painstakingly making tonight everything you envisioned. Everything you felt my mother deserved. You truly honored her tonight. And for that, I am eternally grateful. Sari Feldman, if there's anyone else other than my family and I
who truly feels this loss, it's you. My mother left with me every amazing piece of who she was, with me, in me, and I know that she intended to leave a piece of herself with you as well. Thank you for loving my mother. Thank you for recognizing her work, and thank you for working beside me to help make tonight's event a memorable one. Writing a speech about my mother is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. How do you find the right words to encapsulate everything she was to so many? It seems impossible, yet I'll try my best. She was warm, she was patient, she was strong, she was empathetic, she was loving, she was exquisite, she was home. And even with her flaws, as we all do have them, she was perfection. My mother was family-oriented. Her family was her greatest joy. Her children were her life. And I'll interject with a quick example, and my dad can attest to this for sure. Every time my father took my brother and I out for the day, she would say before he left, Petey, if anything happens to those kids while they're with you, don't come home. Right, Daddy? We were the air in her lungs, and once her children had grandchildren, or her children had children, her grandkids became her heart and soul. I lived a blessed life with my mother. I was raised in a home where we built our lives on the most solid foundation, a foundation of love and family. My mom led with love first, and family was always to remain our top priority. She took such pride in the bond she created between my brother and I. At the youngest age, I remember her always instilling the importance of our relationship. She never allowed us to hold grudges, harbor anger towards one another. We were gifts to each other, and our love for one another was a gift to her. Love was her language, and I often wonder how she knew how to love the way she did. She put love into everything. Every step she choreographed, every sign she communicated, every smile that beamed on her face exuded love. She cooked with love, crocheted with love, laughed with love, embraced with such love. I miss that love. I don't know how my mother did what she did, how she could be what she was to so many people, and yet be the mother she was to Jonathan and I, the wife she was to my dad, the nonna she was to her grandchildren. It truly seems impossible. But that was one of the things that made her extraordinary. I shared my mother with every person here tonight. Looking out, David Kramer, Kenny Dobbins, Jeffrey Sandell, you spent countless hours with her, so many others. How could a woman have the ability to be everywhere? I never once felt like I lacked time with my mom. She was everything a mother should be and more. The video we watched tonight was a labor of love. Going through video after video, trying to get her career, her life, into a half-hour-long montage, it was no small feat, but it is a true representation of the beauty she left us with. For those of you who may have seen yourselves in those numbers, for those who had the privilege of walking alongside of her in some capacity, to be in the presence of her brilliance, sorry, my eyes are blurry, to be in the presence of her brilliance, to be on the receiving end of the force that was Miss Jean. Her work is in your bones, her love is in your heart. She intentionally left that for all of you. You can only imagine what she left with us. We desire a life that is remembered, one in which we leave a legacy, the amazing legacy she left. We should all be so blessed. I love talking about my mother. My tears, this feeling of grief, they will remain with me for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that. I never want to not feel grief. I was told that grief is just love with nowhere to go. It's all the love I have for her but cannot give. So with every tear I shed and every pain felt in my heart, I honor her. My father, Pete, my brother, Jonathan, my husband, Joe, my sister-in-law, Susan, my children, Lucia and Giuseppe, and my nephews, Angelo and Enzo. We thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for assisting us in honoring my mother tonight. May her memory bring a smile to your face. May the love she had for you always have a place in your heart. And now may I bring a piece of her to the stage and say, throw me a kiss. Oh, thank you.
The final song this evening comes from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, a show that Jean visited many times. In fact, 3 productions here, with Joseph being Jean's final show for Theater 3. In the end, Joseph is a story of faith, aspiration, and family. This song is one of perseverance, of hope, of love. Ladies and gentlemen, any dream will do.
I close my eyes, drew back the curtain to see for certain what I thought I knew. Far, far away, someone was weeping, but the world was sleeping. Any dream will do.
And I wore my coat with golden lining, bright colors shining, wonderful and new. And in the east, the dawn was breaking, and the world was waking. Any dream will do. A crash of drums,
a flash of light,
my golden coat flew out of sight.
The colors faded into darkness.
I was left alone. May I return to the beginning. The light is dimming,
and the dream is too.
The world and I, we are still waiting, still hesitating. Any dream will do.
Any dream will, any dream.
Any dream will do.
Any dream will, any dream.
Any dream will do.
On behalf of everyone at Theater 3, we want to thank all the people who helped make this evening possible. The performers, the speakers, our musical director, the technical staff, the interpreters. A special thank you to Rachel and Sari, who were the driving force behind this event. We want to thank Jean's family for giving us this opportunity to celebrate her life And finally, thank you all for coming out tonight and watching from home. We invite you to go through second stage, pick up a glass, and join us in the garden for a toast and a dedication. Thank you and good night.